What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it with another video, and today this video is actually a third video for training mode, my actual training mode settings. I'm going to share with you what settings I use in training mode to practice certain things, why I have certain things set up the way I do, and just explain the important settings, when you want to use them, and why. So we're going to go a little bit in depth today. So let's just hop right into it, okay? So as far as change character, this is a pretty straightforward one. Outside of setting up your favorite colors and stages or whatever, this gives you access to like a quick switch, so you don't have to go all the way back to the character select screen. So I do actually use this a lot. We don't have to spend a lot of time here. Same with like health bars. For the purposes of my training, I usually set it to no recovery instead of auto recovery. This is mostly just to confirm things like blue life, testing certain things with sparking. So for example, fun little trick that you may or may not know, but when... Actually, what am I doing? When, oh, I don't have a spark. Duh, I don't have a sparking macro because it's this code. Okay, so here, oops, this is why I have it on no recovery. This is one reason. Oops. So here you can see the sparking length, and now you can see life sparking 2. Notice how the life bar literally does not go up while I'm hitting them, as opposed to if I'm not in sparking. Now I think this actually gets shown in auto quick recovery too, and auto recovery, but in no recovery you get to see things like that. You can test minimum damage out of things. It's good for testing like snap stuff. It's good for just checking life totals. Outside of that, if you ever want to practice like solo character stuff, you would set these to 0 in the health bar settings. So usually the only time you want to test single character stuff, because in the training menu you can set your sparking level. The only thing you'd want to check here are things like solo guard cancel, or if characters get like special buffs when characters are dead, like base Goku. Because that's pretty much the only time you kill characters off. So next would be training settings. You don't spend too much time here. I also put my key gauge recovery in no recovery also. For a similar reason, I want to see how much meter I'm building, and for cases of meter penalty, like let's say you're practicing a snap loop, but it's cost meter. So let's pretend. Okay, so this should build just about a bar. So let's pretend I did a setup. So I want to see how much meter I actually gain. So if I have auto recovery on and I do the same thing. Okay. Okay, we'll do virtual setup. So it set me. Let me just see it again. Okay. Vanish amount. See, as soon as he came in, he got the bar back. As opposed to if I set it to no recovery. If I set it to no recovery, it's just gonna be like a match, right? Nothing happens. So I want to see like how the meter is actually affected. Things like vanish, level 3, level 1, 2, they all have meter penalties. So I'm kind of concerned with seeing how the meter is affected in real time. Your sparking blast level should generally be set to 1, because when you're testing TODs and stuff, the most reliable low-cost TODs are when you're going for your 1, 2, or 0 bar TODs, which are whole team. So when your sparking is set to level 1, that means you are in the default sparking you would have in a real match. I think by default it's set to normal, which is fine. Before, I think when the game came out, it was set to permanent by default, and when the game came out, there was a thing where people had their Sparking Blast level set to 3, or permanent, for their Touch of Deaths, which aren't, like, realistic, right? Sparking Blast recovery, auto recovery, that's pretty straightforward. You don't need this to be on no recovery. Number of Sparking Blasts, I don't think this really makes a difference. I just have it set to 1. My assist cooldown I have set to normal. So this is a lot of this is for practicing offense. And seeing how fast assist comes back. If you're labbing defense, setting it to quick recovery can be okay. Like usually when I set up something like, let's make a little block string here, boom, 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 something like that. I forgot to record it. Okay. So here, right after it's over, he comes back, so you can just do it again. But personally, I have the habit of just, like, if he does it, so I'll have him do it again. If he does it, after it's over, I just reset. So this one doesn't really make that much of a difference. Input delay, pretty straightforward. This should be 0. Here you can control the starting side and position. So there is, here is just normal and reverse. You can actually do this without the training menu. If you have record and play set, when you press them at the same time, it resets your position. So if you hold left and press these buttons, then you appear on the left side of the screen. If you hold right and press these buttons, you appear on the right side of the screen. If you press up and press those buttons, then you switch sides. And if you press the 2 buttons, you appear on the last position you picked. If you pick down, you appear back in the center. Remember, reminder, pressing up will switch sides. So you could do that without the training menu, so that's why I don't usually touch these. And I leave it at safe settings, so if you have restore defaults, that means if you set it to the left side of the screen and then press it again... Oh. It's not supposed to do that, okay. It's not supposed to do that, but what it's supposed to do is... Oh, my bad. I totally messed this one up. So, if you have this set to restore defaults, if I bring in GT and reset, it'll switch back to Bardock. Now, a thing here about the starting side is that in-game, actually, there are different round start positions. So, you have your center, and then you have your after KO, which is a little bit farther. Not that much farther, but a little bit farther. And then you have your after stage change, which is a little bit closer than that. So if you want to test round starts, different round starts in different positions, then you could do that. At this point, I feel like it doesn't make that much of a difference because, especially if you've been playing the game since it came out, you kind of get the interactions anyway. So this round start, the default like round 1 round start, is the most important, and the majority of interactions are the same despite the distance. Okay, moving on. Enemy settings. This is one where I spend a lot of time in enemy settings. So here, your enemy behavior. The only time you're really changing this is if you are playing with a friend, where you can just set the controller. I don't really use CPU. I don't really use repeat attack. I usually just use training dummy. This actually, they buffed this. It actually used to not be as good, but I usually just use the training dummy. And from here, you can set the standing, the way they guard style. So this switch thing is, if you have this off, or like don't switch, that means since he's set to standing, he'll always get hit crouching. But if you set it to switch, he'll switch his guard. So my default settings is usually whatever pose I'm feeling, crouch or standing, depends on the thing I'm testing. But guard first only and switch. Guard first only is how you test if things are airtight, aka does this thing jail. So for example, for Bardock, back in the day, that jailed. But because it's on guard first only, since there's a gap, he gets hit. As opposed to this, oh whoops, bad, I did it wrong. There you go. That jails. Right? Or another example is this jails. But that doesn't jail. So you can test various sorts of block strings whether things are airtight or not. It's also, this is how you test offensive fuzzies. So for lack of a better way of setting this up, because I don't have any fuzzyable characters here, let's, for the sake of this example, let's do Cell. Yeah, sure. So to test fuzzies, what I like to do is set it to crouch, guard all, not guard all, guard first only, and switch. So if you set it to crouch, guard first only, and switch, then if they will stand up and block if you do the fuzzy right, and if you do the fuzzy wrong, then they'll get hit. So I'll bring them in real quick. Oops, I can't air dash for shit because my execution sucks. You know how it goes, bros. Okay, see? So that was correct. He guarded that. So now I'm going to do it wrong on purpose. Okay. Do it wrong on purpose. Here we go. Well, I'm going to do it extra wrong on purpose. Okay. Boom. So, 1, 2. Oh shit. See, it didn't even hit. He crouched. So this is how you can practice your fuzzy overhead or low mix-up with these settings. Crouch, guard first only, switch. If they guard, cool. Now if you want to practice the combo, just set them to standing, don't guard, and go nuts. See? And they're down. Nice and easy. Now, guard cancel, so this is actually one of the only things I have a problem with. You can practice against guard cancel, but they give you a set amount of frames until the guard cancel happens. So what happens is, like, let's say I set it to random. We'll set this to guard first. So it's based off the first touch. I'd like this to be able to activate, like, what's a good way to explain it? Like, if they're in block stun, either extend the amount of frames or be like, after this amount of attacks, guard cancel in this amount of frames. They're close though. They're close with this one. So I don't really use this to practice against guard cancel. I usually ask friends to help me out. So these are the air and ground recoveries. I don't really mess around with the air recovery so much. I just leave this on default. This is a game where you can convert pretty much all your hits, so you don't really have to practice against air attacks that much. But ground recovery is a big one because you can control back, up, in place, random. The delay down is set on the delay stand. So with ground recovery, when you test your setups, you usually have to manually go through back, up. In place is the same as back in the corner, but mid-screen they appear like this. This is what in place looks like, as opposed to back. So depending on who you go up against, that could be a thing you have to worry about. Delay stand is for testing delay down tech. So what I usually use this for is to test, can they punish my setup with delay down tech mash buttons. So the way you test this is you have this delay stand on, and then set the counterattack settings just to like a 6-frame attack, right? So for example, I'll do something that is definitely probably punishable. Okay, so let's do this. I don't know why I'm doing full combo actually. I should have did mixer, but whatever. So I'm going to do, okay. So that was safe, but if I did a setup that I forgot how I made a stupid ass shit movie. I think it's this. Okay, here we go. I think it's this. Okay. Made up a setup. He hit me out of my stupid ass setup that probably would have hit back and up tech. So that's how you could test against delay down. And you can control it. You can set how many frames. So by default, they just get up immediately. This is getting up immediately. Fastest delay down. And the slowest is 30 frames. And this is actually the max you can delay your tech. Is 30 frames. Dragon Rush cancel is, of course, this. And I believe you can... No. Okay. I thought you could set it to tech late, but you can't. I generally use this to test like post-vanish situations using the counterattack settings. Counterattack settings are super good. So for example, it's Bardock, right? So let's do this. So that means he'll do reversal EX Lariat. It's super good. It used to be actually pretty hard to test this stuff. Now it's like really easy. You can see the interaction right away. That's some Bardock shit right there. That is maximum Bardock. So using the counterattack settings with the Dragon Rush cancel lets you test the post Dragon Rush tech situation. So they changed the counterattack settings in the last patch. What it used to be is like they had all the inputs there, but there were some things that weren't there, like double jumps and stuff like that. So in the new settings now, the way they have it is you can literally make the CPU do whatever you want. So this will make the computer jump, this will make the computer backdash, or this is dash, right? It's assuming you're a player one side, by the way. This will make them backdash. You can't combine, so like for example, I think attacking takes priority over the backdash movement. But if you have, like, say this input, so this will do reversal lariat, it'll do it. So it's actually a pretty strong reversal tool right now. The other nice thing too is you can edit the time to counterattack. That's good. It's 20 frames, just like the guard cancel. I usually just have it set to 0 because when you're testing this stuff, I mean, you're probably testing for mashing and stuff like that. So I usually have this set to 0 at all times. Okay, cool. So training dummy recording settings. So my pro tip for this is to just, when you start using a new slot, just set it to 1. And when you want it on, have it be on 1. When you want it off, have it be on 0. So this is for testing like multiple situations, like defending mix-ups and stuff. By default, it appears like this. I usually just have it on normal recording method. And the playback, I usually either use normal or random. Normal to test just one thing, let's just say like a dumb little setup. Okay, so if I just wanted to look at this over and over, I would have it set to normal. But if I wanted to test, can I defend against something or something like that, we would set 3. Okay, and you know, let's do like this. So one trick when you record is you should make the beginning of your recording look the same, or you could be a super cool person and close your eyes while you're playing. But usually I just have the beginning of it look the same. So I made a little quick primer, like defensive primer, same one as from the defense video I made like a couple weeks ago. So here I have it set to random, and the intro is the same, so that I can't cheat and see, like, remember my recording. I'd have to properly react each time. If you want to be a super cool person, like I said, you can press play, close your eyes, then open them. I know people who do this. They go like this, press the button, open their eyes, and then they do it. So you're like, and then you open. Okay, but whatever works. I like the make the intro look the same. So for example, the super dash primers I usually do backdash, super dash, or so I'll make another one real quick since it takes 2 seconds. So for the super dash primer, I usually do this and nothing, right? So we'll set it to random and go, like 5 attempts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He's really not gonna super dash. He's really not gonna super dash, I thought. So yeah, so when you want to practice against something, like an actual situation, you can build it out. To be fair, they went above and beyond with 8 slots. Before this game, the game I played with the most recording slots was Persona 4 Arena, which had 5. Guilty Gear has 3. The last place I played had 4. 8 is above and beyond. So, and by default, you can't like turn them on and off if you're not using them. But I just suggest like making 8 really quick bullshit recordings, so you can set them all to 0 and then switch them on by using 1, like on will. So at my house, it's always like this. Like if I don't want it on, I put it on 0. If I want it on, I put it on 1. And when I'm done, I just delete all of them and reset. So this is character settings. This lets you edit the specific special gimmicks of the character. So you have things like giving Krillin rock only or senzu bean only, permanent golden Frieza, no time limit golden Frieza, editing Chaozu, etc. So depending on the character, you can just change this here real quick. I was in here a lot when I played Ginyu, because once they added letting you pick what Ginyu Force member you were on, it was way easier to practice it. They have stuff for Android 21 here, Spirit Bomb for base Goku. They have stuff for all characters. Dragon Ball settings, pretty straightforward. This is for messing around with Shenron combos. I haven't been in here for a while, but if you are new to the game or if you want to just check something with Shenron, you can mess around with it here. That's good. Info display settings. So this one's an actual important one. A virtual controller. So when the game came out, you only had this and this was garbage. But now you can do the Guilty Gear one where you put it above the meter. And I think this is really good. And this is for literally, I usually only use this when I'm showing someone my exact input. So like how I buffer things would be a good example. Right? This would be a good example. Usually for like combos or showing certain concepts or something, I would use the virtual controller, especially like on stream. I use this a lot. Command history, that's what appears on the side. You can see the little, what you're pressing, stuff like that, how much you're pressing it. I usually always have this on. I pretty much turn on everything but the virtual controller. Damage info, stun time to see hit stun, the frame advantage and attack startup are super important, and when they added this to the game, I was like, bless, I have this on all the time. Invincibility properties on all the time. Enemy info on all the time. Dummy info on. So the only time you'd want this off. So going back to my thing about, wow, I don't have anyone on right now. So, whoops. So going back to this. So the only time you'd want that on is if you really, really think you're cheating with your setups, you could turn it off and then replay so that you can't see the time or anything. I think just making each replay start at the same time is good enough though, but people have different preferences. And then of course hide the gauges. Of course you want that on. Literally the only time I turn this off is when I'm making thumbnails for these videos. So as far as my info settings, I have everything on except for the virtual controller at all times. Special move list, you only need this if you're like just new to the game or if you're playing a character you've never played before. But everyone all has like quarter circles plus buttons, so it's like not that hard. Button settings, your button config, you're pretty familiar with this. Sound settings, same thing. Right now your ears are being spared. Right now your ears should be getting destroyed, but I muted the game so you can't hear anything. And that's it. That's all the main options in the training menu. Hopefully this helped. If you still have more questions about training mode, let me know. I could talk about training mode forever because I'm in this mode a lot and I definitely want to help. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. Leave questions in the comments and I will see you next time.